On show 459, another electric truck, Faraday Future gets another chance, and Top Gear makes their peace with Tesla. Those stories and many more coming up on today's podcast. So good morning, good afternoon or good evening, in fact, wherever you're listening around the world. Welcome to EV News Daily. My name is Martyn Lee. If you're new to us, I always figure every day there must be at least one new person listening. I can see that the stats are going up all the time. And if that's you today, welcome along to a podcast all about electric cars, and it's daily. Surely there can't be enough news, even a couple of stories a day. You better believe it. In fact, there's always stuff that I'm leaving out of this podcast. There is so much going on. Thank you, as always, to the team at myev.com for helping make this show happen. It is the world's first marketplace all about buying and selling EVs. Think of them like a conduit, like they connect you. Whether you're buying or selling, they're going to connect you with the people who you need to get hold of, who otherwise you just wouldn't without myev.com. Let's kick off with General Motors and GM confirming that an electric pickup truck is indeed coming. GM's CEO Mary Barra has just confirmed the automaker is readying an electric pickup truck to compete with the likes of the other electric trucks that are coming. The Ford F-150, we know, is coming. The Rivian R1T, we know, is coming. Tesla, we know, are making one. InsideEVs.com today reports that Mary Barra said that an electric full-sized pickup will indeed be in the future plans for the automaker. No further details were provided, though. We don't know even if the electric truck is going to be what particular brand. Will it be Chevrolet? Will it be GMC? Maybe something else. We know GM, though, are bringing an all-electric truck to the market. Pretty much up in the air at the moment for the finer details. Apart from that confirmation, we will be getting one. Interesting times for EVs. More specifically, this year, this last 6 months, been fascinating time for electric pickup trucks. And why is that? Well, if you're not a general automotive geek, pickup trucks are worth a lot of money. Particularly in the US, by the way, and particularly in North America. That market is huge. Not so much here in Europe, not so much here in the UK. Our roads are too small. It's not part of what we've grown up with. Maybe the Aussie ute is part of culture, but really not here in the UK, pickup trucks. So they're obviously around, but they're more used for business rather than you wouldn't have one as your own personal vehicle, probably here in the UK. We're around the corner, though, from the launch of many, many electric pickups, and could that kick off the segment, the market, in places where pickup trucks aren't currently a thing? Well, it could be, because they're going to be very practical vehicles, but with some stellar performance. How about driving a pickup truck that can beat just about every sports car away from the lights? You know a Tesla pickup is going to be doing 0 to 60 in like 3 seconds. You know it. They won't release a car. Rivian specs are crazy. They're all going to be, anything with electric power is just super good off the line. So you're going to be sitting there at the lights. You got like 5 seats. You got a flatbed. I don't know if in your country you call that a flatbed. I don't know. Everyone's got different terminology, but you got some stuff in the back. You've been to IKEA. You got some wardrobes. And you smash it away from the light, you just beat a Ferrari or something. That'd be so cool. Look, I'm going to put a link to InsideEVs in the show notes for you. Let's talk Faraday Future. And I think it wouldn't be right to call them anything but the embattled electric car maker, Faraday Future. Holy moly. Yeah, they really have had a tough time of it. And they're not out of the woods yet, but they have secured additional funding. Who is it that keeps giving them money? There must be some people that know what they're up to, and they find it a compelling story enough to put some cash in. $225 million. Faraday Future has received a Lifeline. It's another Lifeline in the wake of a dispute with Chinese real estate giant Evergrande. One of the startup's major investors, according to TechNode today. Well, Faraday announced today it's had a $225 million bridging finance ahead of the company completing $1.25 billion in a capital raise. It expects to close it this year, but they've expected a lot. They also expected to be making cars by now. 2018 was when they were going to be producing the F91. Well, the latest financing, led by the US-based asset management firm Birch Lake Associates, is aimed at helping to bring the F91 to market. It's an SUV, it's a compelling car, but they're just so far behind. Meanwhile, Engadget reports as part of a vendor program, Birch Lake has provided financing to pay all past due amounts, in other words, debts, people who are owed money, suppliers, for approximately 60% of their vendor base. The vendor base, just to say people who supplied stuff that are owed payment from their invoices, including smaller vendors owed less than $20,000, the company wrote. Meanwhile, larger suppliers who will be able to exchange unsecured debt for what they call trust interests. That will include a repayment schedule. Now, to secure the financing, Faraday valued its intellectual property at $1.25 billion. The company plans to use cash from the company called The9. THE9, the number 9, The9, are getting cash to Faraday Future, and they're going to use that cash to build an EV called the V9, a version of the car, the F91, but only for the Chinese market. It's promised to build 300,000 of them every single year, and it'll be in production by 2020. It has a growing fleet of pre-production test vehicles. Good luck to them. We wish everyone good luck making EVs, whether it's Rivian or Byton or Faraday Future, but it's pretty darn tough, even if you're one of the biggest players in the market, let alone someone trying to start from scratch. Let's talk about one of those companies that came from nothing, that's doing okay. And Tesla's Powerwalls are replacing conventional electricity meters with a battery-as-a-meter solution. This is interesting. Tell me more. Tesla Energy is taking part in a utility company in Vermont. Their efforts to push their customers towards sustainable energy solutions. The Resilient Home program is aimed at bringing Tesla Powerwalls to 250 homes to begin with, all of which are going to be using battery storage as backup power and, because you've got all the data in the app and online, as a replacement electricity meter. Says Simon Alvarez for Teslarati today. He says the program is being launched by the Vermont-based Green Mountain Power. Now, they pride themselves on being one of the most climate-conscious utility companies in the US. Customers who are part of the company's project can get 2 Tesla Powerwalls for $30 a month or $3,000 upfront fee. Yes, that is a lot less than it should cost you because it's being subsidised. It will allow customers to get benefits from wind generation, solar generation, and it provides battery backup power for you if you have a power outage. The Powerwall 2 units will also be measuring the energy use for the customers' homes, effectively replacing conventional electricity meters. Green Mountain Power's CEO is Mary Barra, and she said this, and I quote, "Our vision, our dream, is there ends up a battery in every single home and business." End quote. Here, I'm with you, Mary. Wouldn't that be amazing to have every new, even to start with every new home being built, some sort of legislation where it was mandated that if you're building a new home, you have to have battery storage of a certain kilowatt hour, and that way a bit of solar on your roof, and all of a sudden maybe those pipes that have to be built to the electricity grid for whole housing estates, maybe they wouldn't have to be as big. Those big electrical projects, they get mega. You start doing groundworks, mega expensive. Just an idea. I'll put a link in the show notes if you want to read more. Here in the UK, we have a couple of big recovery services, the AA, the Automobile Association, and the RAC, the Royal Automobile Club. There are many more, of course, but those are some of the biggies. And the RAC patrol vans are soon going to get portable electric car chargers because they see EVs gaining in popularity. They want to help vehicles who run out of battery power and help them at the roadside. The system, been developed by the RAC themselves and a partner firm called Original Limited. They're designed to give standard electric vehicles a top-up that allows them to reach the nearest charging point. This isn't about getting you a full charge. This is about getting you to the next charger. Or maybe you got to a charger with a few miles left and the darn thing isn't working. Yeah, I know that's happened to people. I've seen it on Twitter. It's happened to people. I've seen people posting on Twitter pictures of their car on a flatbed truck being towed somewhere because they got to a charger and it was out of order. And that is out of order, but it's a different subject about whether that should be something mandatory if you have the right to have chargers in certain key places, like on main routes, motorways, whether you can't have any downtime or you'll be fined, but that's a different story. So this is good news for recovery vehicles to be looking to the future. One of the things that I've talked about on the podcast before, that I wouldn't like to be in that business. I wouldn't like to be in the business of rescuing broken down fossil cars that have 1,000,001 things that can go wrong. 1,000,001 belts and pulleys and things that sometimes break, engines that overheat and all those kind of things. Yes, EVs will go wrong, but far reduced maintenance, far fewer breakdowns with EVs. I wouldn't want to be in the business of recovering broken down cars in a future where there'll be far fewer broken down cars. But RAC are looking to the future and adding little battery chargers to their vans. The way I think it works, by the way, is the EV Boost chargers take power from the petrol van. Now, all those petrol vans do run on diesel, but look, if you need juice, you'll take the diesel juice, right? They work with Type 2 charging connectors, which pretty much gets everyone a little bit of charge to get to the next charger. And don't say that you won't run out of electricity, because for as long as people have been driving cars, they've been running out of gas. Sometimes through their own fault, sometimes not their own fault. So, yes, it happens to the best of us. Never happened to me yet. Touch wood. Never run out of electricity. Now, Top Gear have an interesting history with Tesla, a love-hate relationship, or actually, these days, well, no, in the old days it was a hate-love relationship. These days, it just seems to be a love-love relationship. Top Gear, new magazine. I was in a big supermarket here in the UK. They're called Sainsbury's. Other supermarkets are available. And I was browsing the magazines while Mrs. Lee was doing some shopping. I tend to use supermarkets as a library these days and read the magazines for 20 minutes while she picks up some supplies. Admit it, you do it as well. And I should have bought it. I should have shown my support. I should have parted with £3, whatever it costs. Top Gear magazine have gone big on the new Tesla Model 3. But over the years, Top Gear as a brand, of course, the TV show back in the day, you go back a long way now, they had a rocky relationship. Says Clean Technica, a rocky relationship with Tesla. They initially published a scathing review of the Tesla Roadster, the original Roadster. They claimed premature failures, a range that didn't live up to promises, exaggerated the charging times. Former Top Gear host James May once even said that battery-powered electric cars will soon die altogether. He would then go on to buy a BMW i3, which he uses as his daily driver. Chris Boylan for Clean Technica says that Top Gear folks recently pitted the Model 3 performance against a comparably priced BMW M3. Now, the presenter of this video and the deputy editor of Top Gear, so the video is on YouTube if you want to have a look. You can buy the magazine as well. He took both cars to Thunder Hill Raceway, Northern California, and he put them through a series of tests. They did the straight quarter mile, which of course the Model 3 won. He did 0 to 100 to 0. That's where you, it's not a standard test, but a lot of reviewers do it. 0 to 100 miles an hour down to 0, because it tests your acceleration to 100, then it tests how quickly you can brake. Now, every time I've seen this done before, it was done on distance. So what's the distance you go from 0 to 100 and then 0? Because that tests the braking power as well. And it's the shortest distance that you do that is the winner. And yet the way Top Gear did it was they timed it. So the Model 3, let me try and explain this. The Model 3 went 0 to 100 and braked in 13.1 seconds or something, but went quite a long distance. The BMW M3, 0 to 100 behind the Tesla, because it's so much lighter, hasn't got those heavy battery packs underneath, and it's got crazy good brakes, much lighter, slammed on the brakes, and stopped a long way before the Model 3. And yet it did it in 13.8 seconds, and yet Top Gear awarded the win to the Model 3. I'm not hating on EVs, obviously, it's an EV podcast. I'm just saying that every single time I've seen this test done, it's based on distance. They seem to have got it wrong. Or maybe they chose to kind of change the rules. Is it a rule? If you've seen this test done before, let me know. Hit me up in the comment section, send me an email or a comment on Facebook and YouTube, and let me know. Am I wrong? Top Gear wrong? Is it done both ways? Let me know. Did some more tests as well. Did some drift testing, which is all well and good for YouTube videos. You know what? I've never drifted a car. I never want to drift a car. Even at a track, I think I'd much rather see how quickly I can go round the track, and that would be more of a challenge than just hanging the rear end out and burning rubber. And of course the BMW is rear-wheel drive, and Tesla's got all these clever electronics to stop it getting out of shape, so that was only ever going to go one way as well. But fair to say, Top Gear having a love-in with the Model 3. Let's talk trucks again, and Daimler Trucks North America, in one of its job listings, has been spotted by InsideEVs. This is really interesting. They've been doing some digging. They're looking for an e-mobility engineer. But the e-mobility engineer job description means they want experience of someone developing charging systems up to 3 megawatts. Now, my car charges at 22 kilowatts. Your car might charge at 50. You might buy an EV that one day can charge at 150, let alone 1,000, let alone 3,000. But that's the charging speeds they're working up to with semi-trucks. At least at Daimler. That's what they need to be developing. Electric trucks are going to be equipped with battery packs that are an order of magnitude bigger, maybe 500 kilowatt hours, maybe 1,000 kilowatt hours. Therefore, the charging speeds are going to be quicker. But 3 megawatts? Holy moly. I'll put a link in the show notes to that job ad. And finally, a company called SES Water, yet another organisation going electric, added 10 new Nissan vans, ENV200s, to their fleet. This is what's interesting, though, and it's kind of like the template that many companies use. They put chargers at their head office, and they are aiming, really, to use EVs as a test case to prove that EVs are better than diesel for costs, better for taking home and charging at home if you have to have your vehicles off-site and with your employees. The Energist says the company will lease the vehicles. They're not buying them. Drax Group is the parent company, and they are providing a package that includes cost of electricity for charging. They've got some telematics going in there as well, but a usage data as well, so those fleet managers can look at this trial and go, actually, look, here's the numbers, present it to the board, to management, and go, every single car we buy from now on for our fleet should be electric. Here's the numbers. It all makes sense. And this is how we do it. We put chargers in at the head office, at homes, for our employees. Another company doing it. Just brilliant. Hey, have you answered this week's question of the week? And would you like to? Thanks to myev.com. They've said our question of the week this week, and it's a good one. Would you let an independent EV repairer service your EV? Is there a future for independent servicing in a world of EVs, or are they so complicated you would always go back to the company from which you bought the car? I'd like to know your thoughts and crowdsource some information on this one. Email me. I'd love to hear from you. My personal email, I read every single one, obviously, is hello@evnewsdaily.com. That is hello@evnewsdaily.com. Time for the endy bit. There are 216 patrons of the podcast. Patreon is a website that supports creators, whether people are making podcasts or music or arts or poetry. I won't pretend this is any form of art. Just me in a microphone chatting with you, really. However, thank you for your support on Patreon. patreon.com/evnewsdaily. 458 shows are sitting in the archive right now. That's a heck of an archive. But all the new ones you can get first and free and automatically by hitting subscribe either on YouTube. We put the audio on YouTube just as an audio podcast, no video, or you can get your podcast app. So all the big podcast apps have this. It's on iTunes, Google, Spotify, all of those places. And if anywhere that you get podcasts from that you can't get this and that you'd like to add it on there, just drop me a note and I'll sort that out. In the meantime, come and say hi on the socials by searching EV News Daily. Have a wonderful day. I'll catch you tomorrow for the first day of a brand new month. And remember, there is no such thing as a self-charging hybrid.